Get out, security. Escort this man out immediately. Bank manager Sandra Miller's sharp command cut through the tense air like a blade. Inside Liberty Financial's flagship branch, the atmosphere was electric as Marcus Johnson, a well-dressed black man in his 40s, stood calmly at the counter. Between them lay a withdrawal slip for $75,000. The security guards moved forward, hands hovering near their belts. The entire lobby fell silent. "I'm simply requesting to withdraw my own money from my account," Marcus explained calmly to the nearest guard. "I've provided all the necessary identification and haven't raised my voice or acted confrontationally." Sandra's voice was the only one raised. "We don't hand out cash to frauds or people like you," she insisted. "You're causing a disturbance. Remove him immediately." One guard grabbed Marcus's arm, ready to escort him out. But before leaving, Marcus slowly reached into his pocket. Something was about to happen that would change everything. This is the story of a powerful and satisfying karma moment, one that unfolds when employees try to throw their own boss out of his own bank. If you believe in fairness and respect for everyone, no matter their skin color, hit subscribe now. Type respect in the comments and share this story so others can learn from it too. Marcus hadn't always been the CEO. 20 years before that humiliating moment in the bank lobby, he stood behind a different counter, wearing a pressed uniform and a name tag that read, "Teller Trainee." His journey from that entry-level position to the executive suite was nothing short of extraordinary. Marcus didn't come from wealth or connections. What he had was determination, intelligence, and an unwavering work ethic that propelled him through the ranks of Liberty Financial. From teller to loan officer, branch manager to regional director, Marcus mastered every role. Along the way, he earned an MBA from Wharton, led record-breaking quarters in 3 divisions, and built a reputation as the problem solver who could revive struggling branches. Yet even as he rose to the top, whispers followed him. Quiet doubts not about his qualifications, but about whether major clients would accept a black man as the face of the company. Now, standing at that counter being physically removed from his own bank, those whispers had turned into loud shouts. Marcus had been tracking a troubling pattern of customer complaints. On the surface, satisfaction scores looked fine, but deeper investigation revealed stark disparities in how customers were treated. The numbers painted a troubling picture that previous leadership had deliberately ignored. Determined to understand the truth firsthand, Marcus adopted the undercover boss approach, not as a gimmick, but as the only way to see what customers really experienced. At 9:15 a.m. on a Tuesday, Marcus walked through the revolving doors of Liberty Financial's flagship branch. He wore modest clothes, a simple navy hoodie, dark pants, and a baseball cap. His short natural hair was neatly trimmed, face clean-shaven but not freshly so. To any observer, he appeared as a casual middle-class man, not the CEO of the entire institution. Taking a seat in the waiting area, Marcus pretended to check his phone while closely observing customer service interactions. What he saw in those first 15 minutes spoke louder than any customer survey. A white businessman in an expensive suit entered and was immediately greeted with a warm smile. "Good morning, sir. How can we help you today?" The man was escorted directly to a desk, bypassing the line. Minutes later, an elderly Asian couple arrived. They were told to take a number and wait. No smile, no warmth, just a pointed finger toward the seating area. A young white woman approached the quick service counter. The teller chatted casually, even asking about her weekend plans. The entire transaction took less than 2 minutes. Then a Hispanic man in work clothes stepped up. Suddenly, the teller asked extra questions, requested multiple forms of ID, and gave him a suspicious once-over. His simple check cashing took nearly 10 minutes. Marcus saw this pattern repeat 6 more times before it was finally his turn. By then, he had waited 37 minutes, despite the branch being only moderately busy. 3 white customers who arrived after him had already been served. When Marcus reached teller Amy's window, the young woman's smile faded. "How can I help you?" she asked, her tone noticeably colder than with previous customers. "I'd like to make a withdrawal, please," Marcus said, sliding his ID and withdrawal slip across the counter. $75,000. Amy's eyes widened. She scrutinized Marcus's driver's license, then looked at his face, then back again, as if to confirm they matched. That's a large amount, she said, her voice rising just enough to catch the attention of her colleague at the next window. Yes, it is, Marcus replied calmly, but it's well within the daily limit for my account type. Amy said nothing, instead whispering to Greg, the senior teller nearby. Greg nodded and approached, positioning himself behind Amy, towering over the counter. Is there a problem here? He asked loudly, not to Amy, but to Marcus. Heads turned. Customers stared. Marcus felt every eye judging him, assuming he must be doing something wrong. With remarkable composure, Marcus placed his bank card next to his ID. No problem at all. I'm simply withdrawing money from my account. Greg picked up Marcus's ID and examined it with exaggerated scrutiny. We've been seeing unusual activity on these types of accounts lately, he said, emphasizing these types as if implying something. We need to be extra careful. What types of accounts exactly? Marcus asked steadily. Greg ignored the question. Amy, pull up the account history. Let's see what transaction patterns we're looking at. As Amy typed, another staff member named Jason leaned in and whispered something to Greg. Not quietly enough. Probably one of those money laundering schemes, Jason said with a smirk, eyeing Marcus's modest clothes and natural hair with thinly veiled contempt. We just need to verify the funds are really yours, he added with false sweetness. You understand, right? It's for your protection. The situation was rapidly deteriorating. Marcus stood tall, voice steady. I understand the need for security. I've provided my ID and bank card. I've been a customer here for many years. I'd like to complete my transaction now, please. That's when Jason called over Sandra Miller, the branch manager. She strode across the lobby with the confidence of someone never questioned before. Her expression was a practiced blend of concern and authority. Sir, I understand there's some confusion about your withdrawal request, she said, her tone dripping with condescension. She didn't introduce herself or ask his name. She immediately assumed she was in charge. There's no confusion on my part, Marcus said firmly. I'm simply trying to access my own money. Sandra's smile didn't reach her eyes. $75,000 is a significant amount of cash. May I ask what it's for? That question, one she hadn't posed to a single white customer making large transactions that morning, hung heavily between them. The blatant double standard was impossible to ignore. The tension thickened the air like a heavy fog as Sandra fixed Marcus with a cold stare. Her face was a practiced mask of concern, but the disdain lurking beneath it couldn't be hidden. The busy bank lobby seemed to quiet down, as if holding its breath for what would come next. Mr. Johnson, she said finally, her fingers gripping his ID delicately, almost hesitantly. This amount doesn't seem appropriate for someone like you. Liberty Financial prides itself on dignity, and we have a certain class of customers we serve. The mask slipped. In that one statement, Sandra exposed the truth. This wasn't about protocols or security. It was pure prejudice dressed in corporate language. Behind her, the staff exchanged looks. Amy averted her eyes, fidgeting nervously with a stack of deposit slips, her discomfort obvious but her silence making her complicit. Greg and Jason didn't even bother to hide their smirks. Jason chuckled quietly, barely covering his amusement. I'm curious, Jason said, leaning casually on the counter with newfound boldness now that Sandra backed him. His voice carried deliberately, loud enough for nearby customers to hear. Did you come into some money recently? A settlement, perhaps? Or maybe an inheritance? The implication was unmistakable. In their minds, there was no legitimate way a black man could have this kind of money. It must be luck, a windfall, not the result of hard work and determination. Marcus's refusal to be intimidated only seemed to frustrate Sandra more. Her professional facade cracked as she leaned in, her voice cold and hard. Sir, we have protocols. If you cannot explain where this money came from or why you need it in cash, I cannot authorize this transaction. I don't need to explain why I'm withdrawing my own money, Marcus replied calmly. Sandra's face flushed with anger. More customers were now watching, some openly recording the scene on their phones. To Sandra, this was quickly becoming a PR nightmare. Not because of her conduct, but because Marcus refused to back down. Get out. Security, escort this man out now, she commanded sharply, her voice cutting through the silence. Two security guards near the entrance moved quickly toward Marcus. We don't give cash to frauds and people like you, Sandra spat, her voice the only raised one in the room. You're causing a disturbance. Remove him immediately. The security guard, a burly man with a buzz cut, approached hesitantly. Marcus remained calm, which seemed to confuse the guard more than if he had been angry. I'm simply requesting to withdraw my own money from my account, Marcus said evenly. I have provided all required identification and have not been confrontational. The guard glanced between Marcus and Sandra. Her expression hardened. Now, she ordered. Reluctantly, the guard placed his hand on Marcus's arm. Sir, I'm going to have to ask you to come with me. The entire bank fell silent. Every eye in the lobby was on the well-dressed black man being physically removed for trying to access his own funds. But just before the guard could lead him away, Marcus slowly reached into his pocket. Sandra tensed. The guard's grip tightened, his other hand moving toward his belt. Marcus pulled out his phone with steady hands. With remarkable composure, he dialed a number. Yes, hello, Marcus said into the phone, his voice professional despite the humiliating scene. This is Marcus Johnson. I'm at the downtown branch of Liberty Financial and am being physically removed for attempting to withdraw funds from my own account. The guard's grip loosened slightly, confusion crossing his face. Marcus's absolute confidence clashed starkly with the situation. Sandra stepped forward, her patience gone. Hang up that phone right now. You're being removed for disruptive behavior. If you resist, we'll call the police. Marcus kept speaking into the phone as if she hadn't said a word. Yes, I'm still at the downtown branch. They've refused the transaction, and security is restraining me now. Yes, that's correct. His calm unsettled Sandra. People denied service or forcibly removed were supposed to respond with anger or fear, not this cool, unwavering composure. Sir! Sandra's voice rose, all professionalism lost. Put that phone away now. Marcus turned slightly away, still speaking clearly into the phone. The large clock on the wall ticked loudly, marking each tenth second. It was 10:17 a.m., a time that would be recorded in termination documents and company records later that day. Then Marcus spoke his final words into the phone, words that would change everything. Michael, I need you at the downtown branch immediately. Security has their hands on me. The name hit Sandra like a physical blow. Michael Roberts, head of operations for the entire bank. Someone Marcus knew personally, someone with direct access to the company's most senior executives. A flicker of doubt crossed Sandra's face, the first crack in her confident mask. Who was this man really? How did he have direct contact with such a powerful figure? Sensing the shift, the guard released Marcus's arm and stepped back. Back at headquarters, the executive suite burst into sudden activity. Michael Roberts stood upright at his desk, color draining from his face as he recognized Marcus's voice and understood what was happening. Get me every customer complaint from the downtown branch for the past year, he barked at his assistant, and call security. Don't let anyone leave the branch, not the manager or any staff. His shoes echoed sharply on the marble floor as he rushed toward the executive elevator, the one that bypassed all stops and went straight to the lobby. In the nearby conference room, board members reviewing quarterly projections suddenly paused as security footage from the downtown branch appeared on the main screen. What's happening? Jonathan Davidson, the chairman of the board, asked as technicians worked to enhance the audio. You need to see this, sir, the head of security replied grimly. The color drained from Davidson's face as he recognized the man being restrained by security. That's Marcus Johnson, one board member stammered. Our CEO. Yes, the security director confirmed, and they're physically removing him from his own bank. The board watched in stunned silence as the scene unfolded live. Record everything, Davidson ordered tightly. Every second, every word, and get legal up here immediately. Back in the bank lobby, the temperature seemed to drop as Sandra's confidence drained completely, replaced by the first flickers of genuine fear. Unbeknownst to Sandra and her team, the security cameras had recorded every interaction throughout the morning, every act of discrimination, every moment of preferential treatment or dismissiveness. The full pattern was now preserved as undeniable evidence. Suddenly, the grand double doors of Liberty Financial's flagship branch burst open with a force that made them slam against the marble walls. The sharp sound echoed like thunder throughout the lobby. Every head turned as Michael Roberts strode in, his presence commanding immediate attention. "Release him immediately." His voice carried absolute authority. Not a request, not a suggestion, but a command that froze everyone in place. The security guard instantly stepped back, raising his hands in compliance. Sandra Miller's expression shifted from irritation to confusion as she recognized the executive. In her 10 years managing this branch, Michael Roberts had visited perhaps twice. Always prearranged, always formal. His sudden, furious arrival sent a tremor through her hands. "Mr. Roberts, what an unexpected pleasure," Sandra stammered, forcing a smile and smoothing her hair as she stepped forward. "Do you have any idea who this is?" Michael cut her off, gesturing toward Marcus, who stood calm amid the chaos. The question lingered, heavy with meaning. Sandra glanced at Marcus, then back at Michael. Confusion gave way to dawning horror. Was Marcus a friend of Michael's? A relative of a board member? A regulator? Her mind raced. Michael approached Marcus, his entire demeanor shifting from righteous anger to profound respect. "I am deeply sorry you had to endure this, especially here," he said, his voice resonating throughout the silent lobby. Then he faced the staff, his expression hardening again. "This," he announced with unmistakable authority, "is Marcus Johnson, the CEO of Liberty Financial, your boss." The words hit like a blow. Sandra staggered as if struck. Jason's hand flew to his mouth, eyes wide with horror as he realized whom he'd mocked. Greg's face drained of color, his Adam's apple bobbing as he swallowed nervously. Amy trembled, tears welling in her eyes. Even the security guard who had restrained Marcus looked pale, sickened by what he'd done. Marcus Johnson stood steady at the center of the storm, his dignity unshaken. The weight of the moment was not just for himself, but for every customer ever dismissed, disrespected, or denied service based on their appearance. When he finally spoke, his voice was calm and measured, carrying the undeniable weight of authority. "Sandra, Greg, Jason," he said, meeting each of their eyes deliberately, "you are terminated, effective immediately." No raised voice, no dramatic gestures, just the simple, incontestable exercise of power by a man who had earned it. "Your actions today prove you are fundamentally incompatible with the values of this institution and the legal requirements of fair banking practices." He continued, "This is not a suspension or a performance improvement plan. This is the end of your employment with Liberty Financial." In that moment, standing in the branch that bore his company's name, surrounded by the leadership who recognized his worth, and in full view of the customers who now understood who truly led their bank, Marcus Johnson sent an unmistakable message. Discrimination has no place at Liberty Financial. Those who perpetuate it have no future here. 7 minutes. That's all it took, from being physically removed to exercising the highest authority. 7 minutes that would forever change Liberty Financial and the banking industry. Has this story touched your heart? It's time to take a stand. This is not just a story. It's a mirror reflecting the reality thousands face daily in America. A reality where skin color can determine how you're treated, even if you're the CEO. If you want to see part 2, where we reveal what happened to Sandra and the others after they were fired, and how Marcus transformed Liberty Financial's culture, type respect in the comments below. Your voice matters. Each comment sends a powerful message that discrimination has no place in our society. Like this video to show solidarity with every person judged unfairly based on appearance. Subscribe now to join a community of advocates for equality and justice. Hit the notification bell so you never miss a story that could change how you see the world. Share this with someone who needs to understand the reality of discrimination, or someone who has lived it and needs to know they're not alone. Remember, change doesn't happen in silence. Your voice, your action, your support, that's what turns powerful stories into powerful movements.